Hi, I am Saham. I will be your narrator for this first chapter understanding Agile Values in this course of Agile methodologies. Let me introduce all the characters.
Hi, Dan here. I am the lead developer and architect at a company that makes coin-op games and kiosks.
I am the team lead, Bruce.
I am Joanna. I was hired a few months ago as a project manager to head up a project building software for a new line of streaming audio jukeboxes, which the company wants to introduce and sell to bars and restaurants.
All the members of the team went out for drinks after work one day. Joanna wasn't happy to learn that in this company, failing projects are the rule, not the exception. The last 3 projects were declared a success by the company's managers, but they only got out the door because Dan and Bruce worked incredibly long hours. As they talked, Joanna recognized the pattern, and knew what was causing the problem. The company follows a particularly ineffective waterfall process. A waterfall process requires a team to write down a complete description of the software at the beginning of the project, and then build exactly what they wrote. The waterfall process made it difficult to respond to change because of the focus on documentation rather than collaboration. Bruce had also given 2 more problems. First, that everyone expected a group of users, managers, and executives to create a perfect requirements specification. Second, that teams repeatedly building software that had a lot of bugs, and was often an unmaintainable mess. What Dan, Bruce, and Joanna were starting to realize was that their project's problems were caused by overly rigid documentation, poor communication, and bugs, hence project not keeping up with changes. There's no single best way to build software. Teams that build great software using a waterfall process typically have a few common characteristics. First one is good communication, then good practices, and least documentation. Good communication, because the teams that were successful in a company that mandated waterfall were the ones that consistently talked to their users, managers, and executives throughout the project. Good practices, especially ones like code reviews and automated testing, which are aimed at finding bugs as early as possible in the process. They usually call this defect prevention, and it required teams to actively think about how those bugs got into the code in the first place. Drawers full of documentation that have rarely been opened, because the people on the team understand that the act of writing down the plan, and the questions that get asked during that planning, is more important than mindlessly sticking to it afterward. Now, that is where Agile comes to the rescue. A new character, Tom, is introduced. Hi, I am Tom. I am a customer account manager at this company. The 3 of them spent the first few weeks of the project building up a specification for the new slot machine. Bruce and Dan broke the project down into tasks, dividing them up among the team, and had everyone start building the software. At the demo, they had an awkward conversation where the CEO asked, "The software looks great, but wasn't it supposed to have a video poker mode?" That was an unfortunate discovery. Bruce, Dan, and Joanna took Tom out to lunch the next time he was in town. They started learning about Agile through Agile Alliance and encountered following terms. 1. Test-driven development is where the programmers build automated unit tests before they build the software that it tests, and these tests are stored alongside the rest of the code for the software, serving as documentation, because it gives developers a record of what the code is supposed to do. 2. Automated build script runs in under 10 minutes and includes automatically running all the unit tests and generating a report of which tests passed and which failed. 3. Iterations in Agile are a time box during which development takes place. The duration may vary, usually between 1 to 4 weeks. 4. On task board, each element of the work, typically a user story, is written on an index card and attached to a board, usually in columns that show the status of each one. 5. Velocity is the amount of work done in a sprint. 6. Burn-down charts show the amount of work that has been completed in a sprint, and the total work remaining. They are used to predict your team's likelihood of completing their work in the time available. 7. Product owner in an Agile team is the customer representative, Tom in this case. 8. User stories are a way to express one very specific need that a user has. It's usually written out as a few sentences, often on an index card, sometimes in a strict structure. 9. Daily stand-up meetings are the places where discussions of work done, and to be done by all members takes place. 10. Retrospectives is where everyone talks about how the project or iteration went, and what lessons can be learned. All were happier as project is better but still problem of fractured perspective. When each person thinks only about his role in that one particular way, the user story helps him, and doesn't look past it to see how the entire team uses the user story or any other Agile tool, technique, or practice, it can cause fractured perspective. Joanna, the project manager who's trying to become a Scrum Master, sees a user story as work to be done, neatly packaged up and ready to build. Dan, the lead developer and architect, sees a user story as a small piece of functionality, written out in a simple, easy-to-understand way. Tom, the product owner, sees a user story as value that will be delivered to the company, because it lets him see a clear connection between what the team is building and what the users will do with the software once it's built. Bruce, the team lead, sees a user story as a specific goal that the team can organize around. Software projects have been unpredictable and had poor results since the 1960s, and a name given to this situation at the time was the software crisis. Many teams try going Agile by adopting great Agile practices that improve on what they already do well today. Adopting better practices leads to better than not doing it results, because the teams have not fundamentally changed the way they communicate or work. Adopting individual practices one at a time is the most common way to adopt Agile today, but it is not the most effective path to Agile. The Manifesto for Agile Software Development was created in 2001 by a group of 17 like-minded people who came together at the Snowbird Retreat in the mountains outside of Salt Lake City, Utah, to come up with a solution to the software development problems they had all seen throughout their careers. They are: 1. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Practices that support individuals and interactions are daily stand-up meetings and retrospectives. User stories themselves are less important than the fact that they help the team have a conversation about what the story means. 2. Working software over comprehensive documentation. Agile practices following this is test-driven development. 3. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. One way Agile teams put this value in place is to have a product owner who is a real, first-class member of the team. He may not be actively developing code, but he does attend meetings, contribute ideas, and, most importantly, feel ownership for the final product. 4. Responding to change over following a plan. NBSP, Task Board is a good example of a practice that helps a team make the right decisions about responding to changes. There are Agile methodologies that are actually intended to help teams adopt Agile and improve their projects. The main 4 of them are: 1. Scrum, which is summarized as follows. The team and the project sponsors create a prioritized list of all the things the team needs to do. This can be a list of tasks or a list of features. This is known as the product backlog. Each month, the team pulls off the top section of the list, which they estimate to be 1 month's worth of work. They expand it to a detailed task list, called the sprint backlog. The team promises to demo or deliver the results to the sponsors at the end of the month when sprint ends. Each day, the team meets face-to-face for 5 to 10 minutes to update each other on their status and on any roadblocks that are slowing them down. This is called the daily stand-up meeting. One particular person is designated the Scrum Master. It is this person's assignment to remove, or get someone to remove, whatever roadblocks the team mentions in the stand-up meeting. 2. Extreme programming. An XP team produces deployable software every week. 3. Lean. It is not a methodology. Rather, it's a name for a mindset to minimize waste and maximize value. 4. Kanban is an Agile method for improving the way that a team builds software by reducing the work in progress or inventory between processes. You will learn about each of these methodologies in detail in the coming chapters. Signing off. Thank you.